urban splash and
30 seconds, but
dominated the Bradford skyline for decades, but until recently was left derelict.
And thousands piled into the weaving sheds during the complex's heyday in the early 20th century. Has there been so much interest?
There'll be a huge queue, isn't there?
They're saying so, and there's a guy who's been queuing since 4 a.m. yesterday.
A staggering 2,000 people visited Lister Mills this weekend to buy one of the new apartments.
The reward was the hottest property in town.
When we launched the Silk Warehouse, we were both surprised and encouraged by the amount of interest we had locally and nationally. And in just over 2 years, working with our partners, Bradford Council, Yorkshire Forward and English Heritage, we've turned a place like this into 131 apartments and 20,000 square feet of commercial space. We think people have been attracted to the Silk Warehouse because of the combination of the best of the old and best of the new, keeping the cast iron columns and beams, the brick piers and concrete coffered ceilings, and then mixing in with this very modern contemporary design, modern kitchens, modern bathrooms to give the space a fantastic feel. But we've only just scratched the surface. The Silk Warehouse is 131 apartments and potentially 600 for Lister Mills. So the next phase for us is Mill 2. Mill 2 is the continuation of our £100 million investment into this site, and we believe the design for this building will form a beacon for the regeneration of Manningham and also the continued rebirth of Bradford as an international city. So for Mill 2 we held an architectural competition, and after a fantastic response, Urban Splash and our partners chose the David Morley scheme. It was David and his team's enthusiasm and understanding of the scheme that made that decision much easier. They've completed some very prestigious projects throughout the UK, and it's this experience and fresh approach that we think is ideal for Mill 2. But to tell you more about the future of Mill 2, I'd like to hand you over to David.
Ready? The buildings were built by Samuel Lister in 1873, and they were really quite innovative. All of the floors, the Dennet's arches was a very new technology at the time. And Lister himself was a great innovator. He was responsible for more UK patents, I understand, than anybody else at that time. The other really exciting thing about the project is working with Urban Splash, their track record in bringing new life to dilapidated landmark structures. Well, the main thing is giving the building a new life. It's been unloved and unused for over 20 years now. And then as far as the fabric's concerned, we will be repairing the stonework, renovating that, and keeping all of the existing window openings. The old windows have all gone, but the original ones would in fact have been obscure glass to stop the workers looking out, so clearly we can't faithfully restore that, but we'll certainly be respecting the design philosophy and having very thin metal frames and maximising the penetration of daylight. Up on the 5th floor, we need to create some new windows, but luckily we found that we can knock out some brick panels between the big stone dentils and the cornice, and that'll create a ready-made stone reveal for some nice small discrete openings there. Overall, we're putting in 150 apartments and 6,500 square foot of commercial space. The entrance will be in the middle, and that'll allow us to reuse the central stair and link that to a light slot which runs right the way up through the building, bringing light down to create a really generous communal space at the base, which will help energise the courtyards on either side of that, and really reinforcing the symmetrical composition of Mill 2. Well, the old roof of Mill 2 is no longer there, it's collapsed, but it could be a really special place up there. From up there you can see across to the moors, you can see back to the city centre of Bradford. And there are perhaps 3 ways in which you could deal with this. You could try and restore what was there originally, but that wouldn't be practical for the new use. Another option would be to do something more discreet and subtle. But there's a danger there that will be really quite a compromise. It will dumb down the skyline. So our approach is to be more confident and to do something up at the roof level which will really express the new life being given to this building and create a beacon signalling process of regeneration that's happening in Bradford at the moment. The roof forms like a curvilinear metal fabric which is wrapped into a plait, and then at the fold lines it's cut to create space for glazing, windows, balconies and the staircases. And then within that envelope that's formed in that way are 2 stories of apartments. The form of the roof's been sculpted using 3D computer software which simply didn't exist 5 years ago, so it's going to be very, very contemporary in its nature. And that's going to be reinforced with a selection of materials which will be very light and delicate also. It's important when bringing new life to old buildings not to fudge the new and the old, and there's some great examples where this has worked well. The Reichstag in Berlin, the Opera House in Lyon, the 4 gasometers in Vienna, and then close to home, Tate Modern in London. These are all great historic structures which have shown how they can be enhanced with some quite bold new interventions. I think this scheme for Mill 2 has got a real sense of inevitability about it. It's finely tuned, it's a natural progression of what's there at the moment. I think the generosity of scale, the combination of respect for tradition and really bold innovation is something that Samuel Lister himself might have been proud of.